welcome back. Got my partner in crime here with me tonight. He's going to share his insight on what it's like to live with a woman who has endometriosis. But first I wanted to give you a little bit of information as far as how endometriosis really affects a relationship, married or just in a dating standpoint. So being in a relationship, honestly, with a woman with endometriosis is no walk in the park. And he'll be the first to tell you it's not a walk in the park. And honestly, I have found that it does take a very strong man to be able to stick to that relationship and be there for the woman for many reasons. And some of these reasons I'm going to tell you I have personally experienced. And the very last one is the one that I've heard the most. But the first one is lack of intimacy, which after talking with some women is really the number one cause of breakups. Financial issues caused by treatments, surgeries, and even lack of work because the woman just cannot seem to go to work because she's in so much pain. Laziness, from what the men seem to think from laying around the house and not picking up slack or helping out with chores or anything like that. And the man even becomes the caretaker, or even maybe infertility. Maybe they want kids one day, but the woman probably cannot provide for that. But the biggest one that I have heard is, your problems are too much for me to handle. That hits you right in the heart, and it makes you feel like there's nobody out there that would be able to stick by you with all of this. And it's really hard to do this alone, or even to try to find a relationship. And if you want to get married, or start a family, or try to start a family, whether it's through adoption or possibly by God's grace, maybe one day, it was just really hard until, to be honest with you, until I met this guy. He's been a blessing in disguise. Held my hand through this entire thing and told me, I'm in this with you. I'm here to fight this battle with you. He's the strongest man I've ever met in my life, to go through this journey with me, and it was not easy. But some things that some men just don't realize, and I know some of you watching who have the same issue that I had, they would understand. They don't realize the pressure that it puts on women to try to keep a healthy relationship and provide equally. It actually makes them feel like failures, or even a burden on others, because they just can't. There's most days they just can't do anything except for lay around the house. Are you intrigued? This is first time on live video, actually seeing people. Anyway,
nobody listens to me, so this is really cool. Good job, Molly.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, except for laying around the house with their best friend, or I call my best friend a heating pad, or even, lavender oil, just relaxing, trying to keep yourself comfortable. So, but I'm going to hand this over to Joe. He's going to pretty much give you, tell you what it was like living with me when my endometriosis got extremely bad. Twice now. He went through two surgeries with me, actually. He saw it progressing, and at its peak, the worst it's ever been. So he's going to give you a little bit of information on what our lives were like from his point of view.
Hey, guys. It sucked. Let's put it to you that way. No, all jokes aside. So when I first moved here 10 years ago, I'd met Melanie, and you start talking and dating and whatnot, and then you get to the point in the relationship where, you got to talk about these issues, especially if you're moving long-term ahead with things. So she had told me she had endometriosis. Well, at that point, I had no clue what that was. I'm like, what? What? How do you say that? Like, I just couldn't understand. And then, as she told me, it's infertility, it affects the uterus, the ovaries, all that stuff. Coming into a new relationship and hearing that, a lot of people probably are scared because of it, because ultimately most people in their life want to be able to raise a family, be able to grow and live a long, healthy life. And being 23 at the time, you're thinking, okay, well, there's a possibility I won't be able to have any kids as I'm learning what this disease is about. So early on, there was a lot of pain. There would be days and nights that she would be doubled over. She would just collapse to the ground and pass out because the pain was just so unbearable for her. And from my standpoint, it was a point of helplessness, not being able to help. I can't take the pain away from her. I can't give her anything to make this go away. Basically, she has to ride this out. And all I can do, and most spouses or significant others that are experiencing this, is the same way. You just have to let it take its course and take its battles as they come. You know, there's some days that she was really, really good, and there were some days where she was in bed for 2, 3, 4 days at a time. Her first surgery, she was out at least 2 weeks that I remember. And it was at that point when I finally realized how severe that this disease was. You know, until you see the photographs after post-surgery, you know, you meet with the doctor and he shows you what is actually there. Being able to see it is totally different than somebody telling you what it is and trying to put everything together for you. So we went, she had her surgery, first one, and then, you know, it was good for about a year or so. You know, she wasn't really 100%, but it was a lot better pain-wise that I could tell. Better for her than what it had been. And then, of course, as time goes on, this is a disease that progressively gets worse, and it comes back, and it comes back. And then, you know, she had her second surgery, and the second surgery was even worse than what the first one was. But between...
Well, second with you, but my third.
Right, second one with me, but it was the third, so which was the worst. Mm-hmm. You know, just unbelievable, like, what this does to the human body. But overall, from my standpoint of it, you have to take this selfishness out, and your wants and needs and desires at that time, all of that is gone. When you see somebody that's basically, in my eyes, was dying in front of me, and you couldn't do anything about it. You would take her to the I'd take her to the emergency room. They just give her some Tylenol and Advil, so we stopped taking her to the emergency room with the pain because you get a $1,000 bill for 2 pills of Aleve or Advil, whatever it is, and just nothing I could do. So at that point, you try to comfort her and be able to make the time pass and be as much as pain-free as you can, you know. Puts a lot of responsibility on the husband, the boyfriend, the spouse, whoever it is, because now they're doing everything. And it's at that point when you realize that when you're in this together, and this is what you do to survive, to be able to take care of each other. Likewise, I had no doubt she would do the same thing for me if I was in similar situations where the roles were reversed.
Absolutely.
There's intercourse is far in between during all of this because it's painful. Certain positions hurt, and I'm not getting graphic, but I'm just letting y'all know. So mentally, for a man, I mean, that plays a huge role in it, you know, because most, if not all guys, you know, that's what they need, you know, maybe once a week or twice a week, 3, 4 times, however it is. It's not happening when you have endometriosis. That whole area, stomach region, pelvic, all of that is a big sore spot for her. So, you know, if you catch her on a good day, you catch her on a good day, but most of the time it was spread out where it was far in between. But then that's where you also have to respect her and be able to help her through it, knowing that there's nothing right at that point without surgery to be able to correct that. You learn character during all of this between both. I found out how incredibly tough and strong and determined she was to be able to fight this. Got to be the strongest woman that I know. And that was one of the qualities that I found when I first met her 10 years ago, before I knew what any of this was. I sensed that, and then going through this with her side by side, being able to see what she goes through and how she deals with it, puts a smile on her face, and doesn't let people really know what's going on. Only the people really, really close. But overall, the disease, it's a horrible disease. Hopefully they'll find a cure or find something to be able to reverse this other than a full hysterectomy. We're very blessed to have Leah, and coming into the relationship, knowing you might never have kids, never once changed my mind in any way, shape, or form for the love for Melanie. There's other options that we had discussed. We had discussed adoption and things like that. So,
matter of fact, when we discussed adoptions, when we found out we were pregnant.
Yep, absolutely. So, you just put it in God's hands and let Him take care of everything. But it is mentally, physically, and emotionally straining. But again, when you've got the right partner to be able to help you through it and help better them, then that's all that matters.
And I have to say, come on, people. This is why I love this man. I'm telling you. And anyone out there who has the same thing as, this is what I call it. I actually call it, and because of the relationships I've been in the past, who, look at you and say, well, there's nothing wrong with you. Does it really hurt that bad? Things like that. And what hurt the most is just saying, your problems are too much for me to handle because I just don't understand. I don't see because they don't see the illness. That's why they call it a silent illness. And I should really call it the silent killer, but it doesn't kill you, even though it makes you feel like you really are dying. It's hard to go through this alone, to really be honest with you, because you really need somebody there who will stand by you, walk through this journey with you. As hard as it is, you can, hear for yourself, to help you cope and just support you through this whole thing, because you feel alone. To be honest, you really feel alone, and depression kicks in, and some things may happen or even thoughts might go through your head. It's horrifying. It really is horrifying. So it's just are you seeing everybody popping up?
Yeah, there's a lot of people on.
So I wanted to talk about and tell you all exactly, the effects that endometriosis has on relationships. And I actually wrote a blog that I've been sharing every night, and I'll share this one tonight too. And it's a little bit more extensive, more of what we talked about from here. So please take the time once it's posted. Please feel welcome to read it. It's got more information in there. But I wanted Joe to come on here to give you a view on his standpoint on what he went through as a supporter, as a caretaker, and helping me through this journey. So anyway, thank you very much for coming on and hearing how wonderful and how lucky and blessed I am to have this amazing man to call my life partner and walk through life with me. So tomorrow, it will continue on my life journey. We still have a couple more topics to talk about because, like I said, it's been 12 years, almost 12 years since I've been experienced this entire horrific experience. So I want to continue bringing you on this journey with me so I can continue to spread the awareness. Anyway, thank you very much for joining in tonight again, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night.